Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Nikki the Bombshell Biker, and welcome back to Halloweek Day 4, the finale of our Halloween week. It is Halloween, so first and foremost, happy Halloween to you and all of your family. I hope you guys have a very safe and fun holiday. If you have little kids that enjoy trick-or-treating, I hope you guys get to go out and the kids have a great time. And don't forget that parent candy tax is so real. So enjoy those large stickers when you can, because you got to get them when you can. I also would like to take today to just talk about some scary stories, not really scary, but ghost stories from my past that kind of started this whole spoopy season for me on my channel. So we'll talk about a couple of them that are really cool in my opinion. You can believe them, you cannot. It's up to you. I believe what I believe. You can believe what you believe. But I do want to thank everybody that's come along this far. It has been a lot of fun to put these videos together. A little stressful, a little tiring, but a lot of fun to be able to do these 4 videos for you in 4 days. Don't know if I'll do this again anytime soon. Maybe next year again, we'll see. But it has been a lot of fun. So thank you guys that have watched. I really appreciate the comments and the love, and I just appreciate that you take time out of your day to come along with me on this journey. So thank you so much. So we'll start with the first one. We will start with the story of my mom's Nana and Tata's house that's like super haunted in Redlands. So this house is really old. It is right across the street from a high school that's in Redlands, California. And my mom always told me about the weird stuff that would happen there. And so when she was growing up, she would spend a lot of time at her Nana and Tata's house, which are her grandma and grandpa. She was the only girl of 4 boys, and so she needed some other female time and female bonding. And so her Nana would always say, "Oh, just let Maggie come with us. Like, it's fine." So she would go over to her Nana and Tata's house all the time, and there were a lot of weird things that happened there. And I've said it before, my family is from Mexico, and so super Catholic, super superstitious, and they believe a lot of those things, and brujas and black magic and white magic and everything. And so my mom would tell me all these stories about how she would be at the house, and she was there one night, spending the night, which was a totally normal occurrence. And she looked outside into the driveway, because there's a driveway that runs along the side of the house. And she looked at her Nana and she said, "Nana, what are those eyes?" And she's like, "What do you mean, Mija? What eyes?" And she was like, "Those eyes on the side of the house, they're red." And she's like, "Oh, Maggie, just close the windows. Like, it's going to be okay." And so my mom was just like, okay. And just kind of like chalked it up to like, all right, I'm just seeing stuff, I'm tired, whatever. There was another night that my mom was spending the night, and in the middle of the night she heard the door shaking, like just rattling, just pulling on the door. And so she woke her Nana up, and she said, "Nana, Nana, Nana, someone's trying to get in the house." So her Tata got up, and he got up and checked the door, and no one was there. And so my mom was just like, "Something was there, Nana. I know there was." And her Nana was just like, "Maggie, it's okay. We have the cross at the door. Like, everything is fine." And it's super common, especially in the Jewish faith, to have little, like, religious emblems at doors, and it keeps the bad spirits out of the doors. And much like, very similar to that, Catholics tend to put a lot of crosses up. And especially if you're from certain parts of Mexico that believe in like brujeria, like magic, essentially, you can do things to keep stuff out of your house or to keep your family safe. And like one thing my mom always did every time we moved into a new house, she would go there by herself, and she would sit down in like the living room or the kitchen or somewhere in the house that had a lot of traffic, and she would just say to whoever was in the house, "I understand this is your house. My family and I are moving in, and we would really appreciate to share the space. You may stay here as long as you stay, keep us safe and don't bother us. We won't bother you, and we'll just leave it at that. If you become a problem, we will not be on this agreement, and we will go." Funny story, the house that my parents lived in before my mom passed away we would always be downstairs and we'd hear somebody upstairs. It's a 2-story house. So we'd be downstairs in like the kitchen and you could just kind of hear someone walking in the hallway. But they would never go down the stairs or never really anything else. Just kind of like a couple steps across the hallway as you went, and then it was nothing. And my dad, when he was home alone, so the way the house is situated is like there's the front walkway and then the living room, and then you kind of walk around. There's the kitchen and the dining room and the garage. And then above the garage is where 3 of the 4 bedrooms are. And so in the front bedroom, my mom started her stained glass stuff in that bedroom. And then she eventually had my dad build a shed for her in the back so she could build like a shop. And so my dad, when he would be home alone, would just hear someone just like walking footsteps, like around, like, or walking in circles, like around the room. And so he'd go upstairs and be like, oh my God, is Maggie home? And she's just like pacing, like, is something wrong? And he'd go upstairs and there's like no one else in the house. My mom hadn't like pulled up or anything. But when my dad was home alone, he noticed that the ghost would be like irritated and it would move around a lot more. Like it would go in the master bedroom more, or like wherever my dad happened to be, like in the rest of the house was where the ghost was. Like he would just constantly like follow him around. Which I always thought was funny. And my mom was, and it was really funny. When my mom got sick, the ghost got really quiet, which was weird. Because if my mom was home alone, which she, like that last year of her life, she was home alone a lot because my dad was in Arkansas for work. Because, like, we didn't know she was sick. And, so she was home alone and she was like, well, I'm not alone. Like, the ghost is here. And we would laugh and he would just do little things. And a lot of the time she thought it was her brother. She had lost a brother of hers many years ago when I was really young. And he was a trickster. And so she always thought it was my Uncle Jimmy. But, like, when my mom died, he was very upset. And just, like, doors would slam and things would move around. And we don't think it was my mom. Because, like, my mom's done really weird, like, silly stuff to me. But, like, she would never slam a door or like stomp around. She just wasn't like that. And so like you could hear like stomping across the hall. Like he was not happy my mom was gone. Another story about weird experiences that we've had. So again with my mom, we were really really young and we had a motorhome and it was kind of beat down. Like we were not like a high income family growing up. And so we had like an old motorhome. And so we had gone up to Oregon to see one of my uncles. And we drove up in the motorhome. We were driving back and the motorhome was just giving us problem after problem after problem. And we were like right outside of San Francisco. And like the motorhome was on the side of the road. My mom and dad were just like, I don't know what to do. Like, we're not going to be able to make it home. We're so far away from home that it's going to take forever for somebody to come get us. Like, AAA is not going to come get us this far, you know. And so my mom said she looked out, like, the passenger window, and she saw my Grandpa Larry. And my Grandpa Larry died when I was, like, 3 years old. And also, not funny, but ironic, my mom buried my grandpa on her birthday. And she then came home from his funeral and her dog had died. Like, it was just, birthdays were not always a great thing. Like, my mom always did a really good job with our birthdays, but like, my late husband died the day before my birthday. And then we found out my mom had cancer on my dad's birthday. Like, birthdays are just, we're done with birthdays now. Like, I'm very excited I'm growing another year older, but I'm just like, I'm so good without it. Like, it's fine. Like, I'll just slide into 29 and just keep on rolling, you know? But anyways, so she looked out the window of the motorhome and she saw my Grandpa Larry and he just told her, like, Maggie, you'll get home. Just go. Like, get on the road and go. And so she said she looked at my dad and she said, we'll be home. Like, we'll get home. My dad will take care of us. It will be fine. And my dad at the time was like, okay, crazy. Like, sure, we'll get home. And she's like, Bob, just trust me. We'll make it home. And she said literally they just drove straight. They only stopped when they needed to for gas. Like, and they got right back on the road. And the motorhome broke down in the driveway. Which is crazy. It's like a 6 to 8 hour drive. And, like, made it home and broke down in our driveway in San Bernardino. So, like, super crazy things like that are just super commonplace for us. So a funny thing that my mom did after she died. So I got this. I love Starbucks and I collect. I have a problem where I need all of the tumblers, all of them. It's a sickness. I need all of them. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, I need that one, and I need that one, and I need that one, and I use all of them. Let me clarify. Every tumbler I buy, I use. So don't let the beard tell you that I buy all these tumblers and then I just don't use them and they lay around the house. No, I use all of them, I promise. And so I had gotten this really pretty Tiffany blue one, but I hadn't been able to find it in a while, and I kind of forgot about it, like out of sight, out of mind. And I had come home late from work one night, and I was in the kitchen, and we have a big island in our kitchen, and we can like walk around it. Obviously, it's an island. And so I was making myself dinner when I got home, and so I was like on the island, like cooking or whatever, and I went to throw something in the trash can. And so I like threw it away, whatever, went back to making food on the island. And then I had turned because I needed a paper towel from behind me. And there was the cup that I hadn't seen in months, just sitting on the like counter. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, thank you for finding this cup. I totally forgotten about it. Because like, it's just, I hadn't seen that cup in months, and it's a bright blue, like Tiffany blue cup. And I would obviously have seen that any other day. And like, granted, it was late, but like, I promise you that cup was not there like 2 minutes ago. So it's just, and like, little things like that are really funny to me. And I just appreciate that she can still like, she's still my mom. Like, she still finds the things I can't find that I don't even know I need, and she still makes herself known all the time. And I love that. My very best friend, she also lost her parents really young. She lost both of her parents. And she's always felt her parents come through like the radio, like songs on the radio. And her and I are very similar in that, like, when we're driving, or like for me when I'm on my bike, like I feel most in tune with like the universe and my faith and all that happy horse stuff. And so she called me one night, and she was like crying, laughing. And I was like, hey, best friend, like, what's up? And she was just like, so heard from Mom and Dad today. And I was like, oh, really? What did they have to say? Because I had heard from her parents, and she tended to hear from them on the radio because she would talk to them while driving. And she was thinking about breaking up with this guy. And she was like, okay, Mom and Dad, like, I just need a sign. Like, please help me out. Do I stay? Like, is this where I need to be? Is this the good band that I need to be with? Or is it just not what's meant for me? And Old Dominion has a song called Break Up With Him. And that was like the next song that came on. And she was like, oh, all right, so this is over. Got it. And she just called me, and we just laughed because, like, how can you ignore a sign like that? And it's so funny. And we joke about it all the time that, like, if we ever need to know, we just throw on the radio. And I know that I might sound absolutely batshit crazy, but I also know that, like, in my heart, I know that I have my loved ones forever, in not the way I want them necessarily. Like, I would give anything to hug my mom and just to talk to her for a little bit. But I know that she's always here, and I am really grateful for those signs from the universe and from them that they send me all the time. And I'm so lucky that I can see those things. And I think a lot of people that are like, I never saw like a sign, like, I don't know what you're talking about. You just have to be open to it. Like, just relax, take a deep breath, and just be willing to receive those signs. That was something my ex-mother-in-law had a really hard time with when Ryan had passed. She was just like, I don't see anything, and everyone's getting signs. And we were like, Mom, you have to relax. And so she did, and she finally got to hear from him, which was awesome. And I know that, like, Ryan would never want her to worry, but she needed to relax to hear it. So if you ever have lost someone, and especially if it's someone so close to you, just, take a deep breath and be open to hearing from them, because they can only do so much. They can't always knock on doors and go through walls, but sometimes they can send little reminders and little moments that let you know that you're not alone, and they're still always there for you, and they love you no matter what. But I am going to end it there. It is Halloween. don't want to take up too much of your time if you've got kiddos to take out or a party to get to or I don't know what you've got on your plate. I've got work and trick-or-treating for Halloween, so I'm very excited. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming along on this journey with me. I am really glad with how it turned out. I've had a lot of fun doing this, even with the stressful late night editing. It's been 100% worth it for me to be able to do this, and I'm just really proud of myself, and I'm really grateful that you guys came along. So I'm going to leave it there. Happy Halloween. Stay safe, stay sassy, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.